A wonderful day to you and a very warm welcome to yet another new video, everyone. Today we've got something really special right here, namely a Motorhome Fiat Ducato. Proudly manufactured way back in 1997. Diesel 2.5-litre diesel engine, 80 kilowatts. And as you can read in the title, we want to, or rather we already have. We retrofitted a reversing camera and also surround cameras. That means a camera on the left side, a camera on the right side, and one reversing camera in the back. Link to buy everything is down in the video description. And we've already roughly wired the whole setup so you can get a look. Because I wanted to take you along and show you how complicated or how easy it is to retrofit something like this. And some of you are probably wondering, can you do it on an older car and how would you go about it and so on. And I'll roughly take you along, show you how I ran everything, how I wired it up and whether it's complicated or not, giving a few practical tips and pointing out common pitfalls along the way. To keep it short, it's not complicated. And we ordered this camera system with 4 cameras. And I'll show you where we mounted it, how I did the whole setup, and please go ahead and leave your thoughts or any questions you might have down in the video description. I'd love to hear your honest feedback. Because I think it's super cool, especially with this long version, that you can check the surroundings and get a much better overall view. Like if there are vehicles, pedestrians, or any other objects close by when you're trying to park. Basically, according to STV, ZO, or TUV, the cameras aren't allowed to be on while driving, because last I checked, to be precise. They may only activate when you put it in reverse, which is still the official legal requirement as far as I know. And that's really important too. When you go to the TUV, the whole setup has to work properly, so you need to drive accordingly, stick to the rules, and comply with all inspection requirements as well, without fail. And I'll show you that. How you could hook it up. And you'll see the rest in the video step by step and in more detail, so you can follow along easily and replicate it yourself. This is what the cameras look like. They've got night vision. We still need to do something about the lighting ourselves, because they have a night vision feature, these. LEDs that are there, they're most likely for the night vision since they haven't lit up so far, and I just wanted to show you there are tons of cables on the display and it looks really messy. That looks really complicated, but it isn't. So it's a universal system. You can basically put it in any Sprinter motorhome. Or a white Crafter, a white Kukuk where you can shove all that in. And yeah, as you can see, there's already one hanging up there, another one on the other side, and one right back there as well. We'll check all that out in a minute. It came with 20 meters, 2 20-meter cables and 2 10-meter cables, all included in the box as part of the set, ready to use right away. Just check the whole thing out down there, because why am I even making the video? The manual or the wiring diagrams for it are really complicated or not there at all. It's just roughly sketched how to hook everything up, but what the other cables do, where trigger 1, trigger 2, trigger 3, trigger 4 are, that wasn't labeled at all, none of it labeled clearly what that's for. That's why it looks so complicated. I'd say, long story short, I'll show you how I finished it and how you could retrofit it. I'll walk you through each step and explain the bits I added so you can follow along and replicate it yourself. So let's get started.
Hi, quick heads up before the video starts. Don't be surprised about the quality differences between the videos we upload. Sometimes one will be good quality, other times it'll be poorer. One that's poor quality because we're uploading new and old car tutorial videos at the same time, but we've improved and recut the older ones, since a lot of the footage needed fixing and we wanted to bring them up to our current standards. What was unnecessary was cut out. And they're now being uploaded one after another. So go ahead and hit subscribe so you don't miss a video, and I'd say let's get back to the video.
This is what the whole thing looks like. We've got this right here. Drilled through. And fed the cable through. I'll show you soon what it looks like inside. When you drill through it, just be careful not to enlarge the hole. Make sure you keep it no larger than this rubber grommet so it stays sealed properly and protected. You can seal that up really well. We'll probably put silicone on anyway. The clear stuff, because you're screwing the mount on properly tight anyway. Water can get in there, of course, and we definitely don't want that. To drill through it, we used these guys here. One from the left and one from the right, so we could drill it cleanly. On the other side, it looks like this. When they're set at an angle, you still have a bit of adjustment to kinda turn it around like that. So you've still got adjustment options anyway, and again here, you've got the option to fasten those easily with screws, the whole thing, if needed. So you can move it here. Now you can see that clearly. So, and here are long slots, so you can slightly twist the entire assembly. Yeah, that's what it looks like from the back. We didn't place the whole thing in the center, but a bit. Actually, to the right side, because the shot looks much better that way. Otherwise, we'd have had to hang it a good deal higher, and then the wiring would have been quite a bit more complicated overall. And from the side, you can get a whole lot more coverage. If you put it in the middle, you'd have to raise it much higher to catch both outer edges properly and evenly at the same time. And that's really the most optimal, and the cables just fed through here, so we can get through. Yeah, and this is what the whole thing looks like from the inside. We put it on the rearview mirror here so we can tilt it around as needed and easily adjust the viewing angle to suit different drivers' preferences, where we want it to be. And that way we can really make optimal use of the available space inside and avoid blocking the driver's view. We had to trim the sun visors a bit for that, because they're pretty big here, or rather, we cut them off, not cut them out. I'll show you all in just a moment when I go through the entire wiring setup in detail. So that's what it looks like, and at the moment it's set to ignition. If we turn the ignition on, the whole thing powers right up then. And this is what it looks like. We've got the reversing camera up top with the other camera views displayed to the right and left, so you can see all angles clearly and easily. You basically have a few different options here. If we switch to one of the screens, you can see absolutely everything here at once. There's the 2 up and the 3 up, and there are different modes, like how you can configure everything here step by step easily. For example, like this. So you can hook up to 4 cameras, but the 4th is pretty pointless and in my view unnecessary, so I still think that's the optimal setup. Okay, now onto the wiring. We've hung up all the cameras and pulled the cables forward, routing them neatly along the ceiling and securing them so they don't sag. So that's us through here then. Of course there will be cable channels put in here now. It's just hanging there for now so you can take a much closer look at the whole thing. Walk through here just once. And then we're basically all the way over the cabinets now as well. We've gone through here. Over the cabinets and then like right here. Under the ceiling basically. Right over there. And each one from the side. It's bright enough here from the side. From that side, we'll of course run proper cable channels down and all of this here, once we take off all these parts down here and hide it up in the ceiling. And here we can also see the wiring. Everything comes together here. Then we've got the camera cables, the power feeds and network lines, plus any connectors and spare slack bundled up neatly so they can be routed and connected later without clutter, allowing easy access for future maintenance and quick upgrades. Camera cables. And camera cables. So then we've got loads and loads of other cables hanging here. These are the trigger cables, where it says TR. I'll show you in just a moment. Here you can clearly see the trigger one, and there are actually 4 of them. The cables are completely unnecessary. They're basically there, so when you power it up, you get those parking lines on the screen, which clearly show the exact parking positions for guidance and reference. You don't need them for anything else. So yeah, they're totally unnecessary. You don't need to hook those up. Then you'll only have 2 wires left to look at. That's 1 positive and 1 negative. Done. So, and the positive cable you, of course, have to hook up directly to the reverse signal. Or if you want it to run permanently, wire it to the vehicle's ignition. But nobody said that. But for testing, you can of course hook it up to the ignition and then it'll come on with your ignition. So, and just hook the negative wire to ground. That means per Saint VZO you'd have to hook this up to the reverse signal. That's only so there's power here when the reverse signal comes on. That is when you shift the car into reverse gear, of course. But for testing you can of course hook it up to the ignition so it powers when the key's on. You can tap the ignition feed, for example, easily from the fuse box. And you obviously don't want that permanently either unless you want to stick a switch in between. So, and you grab the ground point here as well, right over there. Both the ground and the positive lead run through the fuse box. But it's kind of protected here again, a bit redundantly in that spot, and of course it varies from car to car. So there's a fuse in here, and that's pretty much it, to be honest. And then you've got yourself a reversing camera, or rather a surround view camera. And we just need to rewire everything properly now and run the cable channels, tidy the runs, and that's roughly how it could look for you in the end. Alright guys, so that's roughly how it can look. As you can see in the video, a short clip, because taking you along while I drill a hole would be pretty boring and obvious, and it really varies from camper to camper or from sprinter to crafter. It really depends on model year, interior layout, and exactly where you want things fitted, so you'll have to adapt the approach to your own van. But the wiring stays the same. So I hope this video helped some of you because I couldn't really find a good, clear, step-by-step guide online anywhere else. Video I could find that explains exactly which cable goes where, what those trigger cables are for, and how you could retrofit something like that with clear pictures and step-by-step instructions. A display with 4 cameras or with... Oh, I can show you the picture in just a little bit. Nah, yeah, it's pretty unremarkable how the night vision cameras work when you turn the lights off. They just switch over to infrared mode. But you could do it like that. So on average, getting all the gear together, since it's also individual, takes a good 2 days in practice, maybe even a bit longer once you factor in testing, tweaking, and any unexpected delays. You can do it in a day, but 2 days is generally more realistic because until it's sealed with silicone and needs a bit of DIY, like it usually is with motorhomes. So I really do hope this video helped 1 or 2 of you out there, folks. If so, drop it all in the comments below, and I'd say, see you next time. Take care, talk soon, see you, bye.